What's cracking YouTube? Jamel here. Uh, on to the next video. I want to give you guys a scenario. Let's say you have a $500,000 property that you have under contract um, with the seller for $50,000, and you want to sell this contract to a cash buyer for $350,000, making yourself $300,000, and a cash buyer can ultimately sell for $500,000, making himself $150,000. So the seller's getting 50, you're getting 300, and the cash buyer on the back end is going to get 150,000. That cash buyer, once he sees those numbers, when you try to assign that contract to him, he is not going to be happy that you're making double what he's making. He's going to do one or two or all of these things. He's going to back out of the contract and try to snake the buyer, the seller himself. Okay. He's going to be very, very unhappy that you're making double what he's making. So these deals they're not super common, but they happen. They happen. And even if you're making $20,000 or $30,000, like let's say the numbers aren't as extreme as the example that I just gave. I've talked to a lot of cash buyers that are like, yeah, I don't mind dealing with wholesalers as long as they're only making like $5,000 or $7,000. Like they try to put a cap on what you can make from your hard work and shit, because this shit is hard work, y'all. It's not sweet. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not a get rich overnight. It's not a I'm gonna be rich by next month type of thing. You have to put in your fucking work and get this shit done and talk to sellers and get these contracts signed. You're doing all the legwork. You're going out there, you viewing the property, you're setting up shit with title companies, the closing attorneys, and for a fucking cash buyer to be like, well, I don't want you making that much money on this deal. Fuck him. Take him off your list. Don't market your properties to him anymore. If they have a problem with what you're making, that's the first and foremost thing you do. You take them off your list, because a deal is a deal. Like if this is how I look at it. If it's still a deal for you, why do I give a fuck what I'm making? That's none of your business. So this video is to tell you guys how to get around that. We do what we call a double close. Let me explain what that is. You find a seller, motivated seller. You get the property on the contract with them, right? You purchase and sale agreement with them. And when you find a cash buyer, traditionally, you would just do an assignment of contract with that cash buyer. You tell the cash buyer, hey, I got this property on lock for $40,000. Let's do this assignment of contract. You give me $15,000, and you do the assignment of contract for at $15,000 assignment fee. But you won't do that when you want to hide what you're making. What you want to do is a double close. So you would do a purchase and sale agreement with the seller, and then a separate purchase to sell agreement with the buyer. That's A to B, and then B to C. Okay, you're B. A is seller, C is buyer. And so when you talk to your closing attorney or your title company, you let them know that you want to do a double close on this. Now, in this particular scenario, a double close, you will be paying closing costs. There's no way around that. But you usually don't have to do a double close unless you're making a significant amount of money anyway. So on the A to B side of the contract, you'd pay the closing costs on that. On the B to C side, the buyer would be paying closing costs. So this is how it would go, right? Get both contracts, A, B, B to C. Give them to the closing attorney. Give them to the title company. The title company is going to call in B and C. They're going to call in C. C is going to bring the check, do all of the paperwork, but just not finalize it. And then the closing attorney is going to use the funds that C brought in to then later on in that day, or at the same exact time, just in two separate rooms, close on the A to B contract. You see where I'm going with this? They're going to use C's funds to close on the A and B contract and then finalize the documents between B and C. Let me go through that again. A and B, you and the seller. B and C, you and the buyer. The buyer is going to come in at 9 a.m. in the morning. He's going to bring a check. He's going to sign all the documents that he needs to sign for it to be over with. The closing attorney is then going to have the seller come in and you, the buyer, at 10 a.m. And they're going to use the funds that C brought in to close the deal between you and A, and then finalize the documentation for B and C. See where I'm going with this? So essentially, you just used the buyer's money to buy the property and then sold it to him afterwards. So you used his money as a transactional fund to fund your deal and then turned around and sold it to him. So he brought in, let's say, $200,000 property. The seller gets $50,000. You get $50,000. He bring in $100,000. The closing attorney uses the 50 to give to the seller for his property, and part of your 50,000 to close on your deal, and then well, the seller the buyer would have to bring in the closing fees as well to close on his part. But yeah, basically, I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. If not, leave something in the comments and ask, and maybe I can clarify it a little bit more. But yeah, that's how you do a double close. Purchase and sale agreement between A and B. Purchase and sale agreement between B and C. Have C come in at 9 a.m. to the closing attorney or the title company. Bring funds. Don't finalize the documents. Your attorney is going to know what to do. Don't finalize the documents. Then have A come in at 10 a.m. and then you walk away with your check. I hope you guys found value in this video. Like, subscribe, share to anyone that you think it may help, and I'll see you in the next one.